Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome in. I have something I would like to share. I am working on something pretty amazing, and I want to invite you guys all to join me as I get ready to share a part of myself that I have really never let come into the light of day, at least not very fully. And so, over these last few months, I started working on something pretty special. In December, we did the $10,000 giveaway challenge for those of you that participated and watched that happen. It was amazing. And then in January, I coached a bunch of you through those programs and through some of that work that we did together. It was amazing. And then some things started to happen for me where my life started to really open up and grow in ways that I didn't expect. I started to experience kind of some dreams coming true and new levels of success and growth in my life and in my business. And what was so interesting about it was that it ended up being actually a profoundly triggering experience for me, which I did not expect. And at the same time, I noticed I wasn't really able to keep up with everything. There were a lot of people. I was doing the Tuesday night coaching play dates, and people were saying, I want to join, I want to be a part of it, but I can't come at that time. And so I was trying to figure out how can I help more people, and also at the same time, keeping up with, coaching for the life coach school. And man, some of those days I was coaching, I think 18 clients in a day, 20 clients in a day. It was busy. Everything was full. And I also started to experience just this profound triggering, really, that I didn't quite understand. And I started binge eating again, which I haven't done in like 6 years. And that ended up being this really painful experience. But I was able to really go through a lot of the work that I've been coaching other people on for the last several years, right? I work with people on radical self-love and personal healing, and I do work with people in these profound ways to learn how to really love themselves through hard things. And so I was able to kind of take myself through that experience, which was kind of neat. But what I noticed and I started thinking about was, okay, how do I want to take myself through this experience of healing, because this trigger is happening and there's something in here that's needing some attention. So I went on this deep dive of my own personal self-discovery, and I went back to the beginning and I started going through that same work that I take other people through. And it was a neat experience because I learned some amazing things about myself that I want to share with you. The other thing that was neat about it is, as I was asking those questions, okay, all of a sudden I have all these people that I want to serve, all these people that I want to coach, all these places that I want to be able to show up and serve. How can I serve more people at the same time? So as I was going through this self-healing and the self-discovery journey of my own to figure out what are these triggers that are happening, and how do I heal them? And it felt really deep and profound. It wasn't like at a conscious level, right? And I was like, it didn't make sense to me why I was having these things happen in the face of success, right? And I had, was dealing with depression and not as much anxiety. I really it hasn't, and I've talked to you guys about this before. The work that I did on the anxiety stuff was really profound when I went through that reinvention program with Brooke, and I've shared a lot of some of those tools and that work. But this was like more of a raw fear, right? It was like this fear of stepping into this new identity and being seen, and stepping into these leadership roles, and just a lot of stuff that felt really scary, to parts of myself, my old identity. And so as I started going through this, here's what I uncovered was I went back and I started working through coaching my own unconscious mind, which was incredible. This experience has been so incredible. And so what I did is I started taking the work I did with all my clients over the last 3 years on the radical self-love and personal healing and all those tools, and I brought in new frameworks, and I started creating things that I've never created before, things that are my own, in creating this amazing framework of self-discovery. And at the same time, I started thinking about mental health and in the way that we think about mental health. And I'm like, I've heard people talk about imposter syndrome before, how when you're experiencing success and you're growing, like it can feel like, that's not really who I am. But this was different. This wasn't an imposter syndrome. I know that that's the truth of who I am, this identity and everything that I'm stepping into. It wasn't that I didn't believe that that's who I am. It was that I was afraid to be that person. I was afraid to let go of my small little life, right? I was afraid to let go of the person that I have been, right? That familiar, those coping mechanisms, all that kind of stuff. It was fear to step into the truth of who I really am. And so I had to start coaching myself around all that. And as I was laying in bed one day, this is the part that I want to talk to you about. So what I've been working on, right? So these new tools for self-discovery, for personal healing, and particularly coaching the unconscious mind. And so when I talk about today, coming out of the closet, one of the things that I've been noticing is that there are parts of myself that I've been hiding from the world, right? There are parts of myself that I really haven't opened up to and let the world see. And a lot of that, as I've talked to you guys before, has come from this fear of being known, fear of being seen for who I really am, because the world will for sure reject me. I'm a weirdo, right? I know I'm a weirdo, but the whole world's going to know. And they already know I'm a weirdo, but they don't know I'm that weird. Right. And it's like, as this person growing up in the church and in the Christian community, I was too queer for the Christians and I'm too Christian for the queers. And it's like, I don't know, the spirituality has always felt like a scary thing. And I used to tell people, my best friend, Justin, I was like, it's funny, like I've been more closeted about my spirituality than I have been about my sexuality, which is kind of a funny thing. Right. And so as I've been going through this experience these last few months of really coming home to the truth of who I really am and who I want to be, and asking myself that question, Robin, am I willing to let go of who I have been in order to step into who I truly want to be? And if the answer to that question is yes, then I need to take off some of this armor and just be willing to tell the truth about who I am and what I believe and what I want to bring to the world. And as I began to allow myself to do that, as I began to consider doing that, I just fucking lit up on fire because I have something so amazing to share, right? And so if I allow myself to embrace and to share my gifts truly with the world, like what an amazing thing to risk rejection. Because when you do that, when you risk rejection, and when you allow for that vulnerability and offer what you have, you might experience rejection. In fact, you probably will, I guarantee it, for the most part, because you're not for everyone. But when you allow yourself to open up and be seen for the truth of who you really are, what you allow yourself to experience is the opportunity to be accepted as you are. And so as I get ready to create this program that I'm about to tell you about, we're doing a free mental health project that's going to be launching May 1st. I've been working on this for about the last 6 weeks pretty intensively. And we're going to combine these parts of my own spirituality, these parts of my own self-discovery, meditation, breath work, somatic work, right? Dr. Laura Jurgens is going to come and talk about somatics in the body and eroticism and business and leadership. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I've got some amazing stuff coming and I'm so excited. So I started thinking about how can all of this come together, right? All of my life has been so filled with learning how to be a mentally healthy person, mentally and emotionally. When we talk about mental health and emotional health, like that's the whole deal. That's my whole life, right? From the time that I was little and even until right now, that has just been a constant getting to know myself. It's been a constant self-discovery, right? What do I do when I'm depressed? What do I do when I'm feeling lonely? What do I do when I'm feeling anxious or afraid or scared in relationships and business, right? Whether we're talking about intimacy in a relationship or intimacy, like putting yourself out there in the world, it's all the same. And it can bring up those mental and emotional experiences But here's the thing about mental health is it's not just about when something's going wrong. It's also about when things are going right, right? I've been experiencing so many amazing relationships and business connections and, coaching clients, like that just blow my mind, right? Every day when I go in and I coach with these clients, like I just am smiling on the inside. Like I get to coach people from all walks of life, people. And what I'm noticing is I was coaching someone the other day that was, running a multi-million-dollar business. And then an hour later, I coach somebody that is just starting a business, right? I coach someone on weight loss, on money, on all the things. And what I notice is there's a theme. It's all the same. Whether you're an 8-figure earner or 6-figure earner, right? So many of these people are dealing with shame. They're dealing with depression. They're dealing with loneliness. They're dealing with all these same mental health and emotional health challenges. And so I wanted to create a collaborative event with a host of other coaches. And I just started reaching out to them. I'm like, hey, you know what? I've been really going through some pretty intense stuff these last few months. And as I'm doing this work on myself, I've really been starting to wonder, what if it's not just me? Are there other coaches out here that are going through these same challenges? And joy is a part of mental health, right? Love is a part of mental health. Mental health is not just about mental illness. It's about the entire spectrum of emotion. Can we learn how to have joy? That's a mental health issue. And so many of us in our businesses and our marriages with our kids, right? We get the dream, we get the house, we get the marriage, we get the kids, we get the business, we get the money, we get all these things. And then we realize we're stressed. We're worried that we're not parenting right. We're afraid that 8-figure year was a fluke. We're for sure going to lose it all, right? I've literally talked to these people, and it's like, no matter where you are in your life, this is a constant because we have that human brain. And so starting on May 1st, I'm going to be releasing a podcast, and we're going to be talking about mental health, leadership, success, business, right? Identity, how all of this comes together. And so this podcast is not only a way for me to be able to serve more people, right? Remember that original problem when I was like, I don't know how to serve all these people at the same time. So I'm going to be creating a podcast where I can be teaching and serving all of you, no matter your time zone. And I've got a few other things that are going to be coming along the way. So I just want to let you know about this part for now. And I'm also going to be doing some live coaching for those of you that were wanting to, coming to the live coaching playdates, wanting opportunities to get live coaching. We're still going to be doing that. And so in May, the way it's going to be set up is that we're releasing these podcast episodes May 1st, all the way through the end of May. And then May 19th through 21st, we're going to be doing a live event summit where we're going to be talking about the shadow sides of our own humanity. We're going to be talking about how to hold space for both, right? The day and the night, the joy and the pain, the ugly and the beautiful, that contrast, right? These shadow sides of ourselves that we're afraid to show people, right? So for me, sometimes that might be the binge eating, that might be the anxiety, the neediness, but sometimes it's also my spirituality. It's also that part of me, I'm an energy worker, and I've never said that to anyone, right? Well, who wants an energy worker? Who wants to come coach with a life coach on their business and their leadership and their money? And of course, I know many of you are like, I do that. That's amazing. What are you talking about? But for me, I had stories around that, right? That because in the queer community, for whatever reason, I was afraid to just even open up to that. But the more that I embrace it, what I'm finding is that there are coaches and friends and people from all over kind of coming out of the woodwork, just celebrating that part of me. And I'm finding more belonging and more connection and more intimacy in my relationships and more joy with myself and peace and connection to the deepest parts of me that are so freaking beautiful. So I want to invite you to come out of the closet too. What are the things about yourself that you're hiding? What are the things about yourself that you're worried to show people? And what do you think might happen if you were able to first accept it in yourself, and then secondly, to share it with the world? What might it be like to get naked in front of everyone and say, this is who I am. I'm an energy worker. I'm a healer. This is what I do. What if we were to embrace the woo, right? And so much of what I do with people around breath work and somatics and coaching the unconscious mind, I'm going to begin teaching you guys how to coach the unconscious mind. I'm going to begin teaching you how to go into the parts of yourself that you can't rationally explain, right? We're going to be talking about, I love mindset work. I love cognitive coaching. It's so powerful. But I see people, and I've been working with clients, especially the last several months, where they're just like, Robin, this doesn't make sense. Like rationally, I know this thing isn't true, but I just feel this thing in my body that's like this resistance, and I can't, right? And so then I take them into their body and I take them into their unconscious mind, and we turn it around and we flip that script, and it's mind-blowing what you will begin to experience when you allow yourself to go there. And so I just want to invite you on this journey with me to first follow along. We're about to do this podcast series on mental health, identity, leadership, right? Stepping into your most powerful life. And we're going to be interviewing these coaches. I'm going to be interviewing these coaches all through the month of May, who are going to be sharing their stories with you and their challenges as they've gone through their lives and how they dealt with it, right? And how they supported themselves. And then at the end of May, we're going to be doing this summit event where I'm going to invite you guys to come in, and we're going to blow your socks off with some amazing stuff. And it's going to be so fun. Having said that, I'm also going to be sharing a little bit more of my story with you over these next couple days, and getting ready to set the stage for this really awesome thing that we're going to do. So I invite you to just spend a little bit of time today just thinking about, what are the things you're hiding? What are the things that you don't want to show, that you don't want to talk about? And what would it feel like if there was a safe place that you could come and let your weirdo out? What if there was a safe place that you could come and let your ugly out, quote unquote? And what if it wasn't even ugly? What if that part of you that you're hiding is actually an essential, beautiful part of you that is literally trying to serve you in your life in incredible ways? And as long as we're hiding that part, it's like we're trying to go through life with one hand tied behind your back. What if you let both your hands out? What if the day and the night are literally actually working together to create something beautiful? I love you. You are beautiful. You are worthy, and you belong. Come join the family. We'll talk more soon. All right. Bye-bye.